Julie, thank you. Well, when you hear the word bullying or bully, the first image that comes to mind is probably kids in a schoolyard, right? But bullying is also a problem in the workplace, and it can be severe enough that some workers develop depression or stress, and in some cases, quit their jobs. S.L. Young is the author of Bullies. They're in your office, too, and he draws on his own workplace experiences and his consulting work with large companies to identify the types of workplace bullies and how to deal with them. We appreciate you being here today. You know, I got an Ask Allison question a long time ago, not our personal one, but one about a victim of this. But she even said that this person went so far as to put her hands on her in aggressive ways, not straight up fighting, but, you know, pushing her aside and things like this. And I thought, my goodness, what do? You need this job, but who wants to go to work and be harassed every day? So this is a very real problem.
Yes, it's actually a very big problem, not only here in the United States, but around the world. Bullying is something that we typically think about in schoolyards, but bullying actually occurs in offices around the world as well. Because a lot of times what individuals that bully do, they'll use harassment, intimidation, and threats in order to get what they want, but they'll also use their power, influence, and control to achieve their objectives.
So let's break it down. What if a coworker is bullying you? How do you identify that as that sort of behavior, and what do you do about it if it's a coworker, same level, pay grade, what have you?
You know, the first thing in recognizing any type of incident that you're uncomfortable with is, does it not feel good to you? If it doesn't feel good to you, then there's probably something there. Sometimes there can be situational issues that maybe we just didn't understand the situation at that time, and maybe something else could have played into it. But I always say the easiest thing to do is just to have a conversation, just ask a question, say, hey, you know, Allison, we had a conversation last week, and the way that you spoke to me, I really didn't appreciate it. I just wanted to understand what might have been behind it, because I just want to make sure that I didn't interpret it in the wrong way.
Okay, and if that person says, well, I felt like talking to you that way, and what's the problem? Then what do you do? Is that an HR issue at that point?
Well, you know, I think you have several different options. One, you could talk to some of your peers or friends to just get their input, and you could also talk to your manager. And then if the issue continues to escalate or you're not making any progress on it, then I think it's acceptable to have a conversation with human resources.
Okay, suppose it's the boss, SL, because that, I mean, and how do you identify that behavior as being stepping across boundaries, or whether it's your boss saying, well, I need you to stay an extra 2 hours, and you're thinking, well, I got to pick up my child from daycare, or I have obligations, you know. So when is it a bully, or when is it just a boss who maybe is a little aggressive or assertive? You know, when does it cross that line? Well,
let me first say that, you know, it can be very difficult when you deal with any type of bully, and especially when the bully is your manager. So what you need to do is probably tread a little bit more lightly. So if you don't have a good working relationship with your manager, again, you can still leverage your friends and your peers to have a conversation in terms of developing a strategy. But if that manager is very threatening to you, then sometimes you might be able to have a conversation with another manager within the organization that you respect and trust. And then again, go on to human resources. But you know, at the end of the day, if there's an issue related to workplace bullying, you've got to take a proactive step and say, hey, this is a behavior that I don't want. And if it's somebody at the same level, you can try to work on it one-on-one. But if it's somebody at a level that's above you, it can be a little bit more challenging. But at least try to have that initial conversation and then circle back to human resources.
Okay, getting really real with this. Yeah. Suppose like somebody is coming to you on a pretty regular basis and saying, I didn't appreciate the way that you talked to me. And you then take a look in the mirror and say, uh-oh, is it me? Am I a bully? What's my behavior about? So suppose you have that, that moment. How do you correct your own behavior?
Well, you know, that's one of the hardest issues in trying to address personal behavior as it relates to workplace bullying. So what you can do at that point is say, you know what, I'm sorry that you felt this way. Can you just give me some specific examples of things that I've done that have made you uncomfortable? And then sort of work through the situation to identify what are the specific issues, and then you can develop a plan of action, because sometimes there can be a difference between being a bully, which is someone that might intentionally or unintentionally do something to hurt someone, and being a bad manager, it could be someone who just doesn't have the skills that they just don't know, or it could be just someone that just has bad manners, and again, it could be intentionally or not. So we just need to address the specific issues and try to find out as much information as possible.
Okay. And bottom line, though, it doesn't feel good to you. You should not be disrespected on your workplace,
Exactly.
right? You have rights as a human being. So there it is. Okay, where can we find the book, Bullies? They're in your workplace, too.
Well, you can find the book on my website at www.slyoung.com.
Okay.
And you can also purchase the book on Amazon.com.
Love it. Not a lot of people are talking about this, but we're talking about bullying, so it only figures that we would talk about it here, too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Most definitely. Tony, over to you.
All right. Thank you both very much.